as you can see, the broadheads on these two arrows are identical. They are single beveled broadheads, both 200 grains. They are the Werewolf by Eclipse. With that being said, though, the arrow shafts are different. The top arrow shaft is a Carbon Express Pile Driver 250 left full length, has a standard insert, and with the 200 grain broadhead, it weighs in at just over 500 grains. The bottom arrow, of course, has the broadhead, which is identical. It has a standard insert, and it is a .500 Easton Full Metal Jacket, left full length. It weighs in also at just over 500 grains. So both of these arrow shafts are suitable for use with a 45 to 55 pound traditional bow or a youth compound, while many adult compound shooters, if they're male, are normally shooting 70 to 75 pound draw. But if you look closely at these two arrow shafts, you can see that the FMJ on the bottom has an acute transition between the broadhead and the arrow shaft. The Carbon Express on the top is still a good choice because it is flush with the broadhead. The Easton arrow shaft will outperform the flush fitting arrow shaft by Carbon Express. Now don't get me wrong, I do love Carbon Express arrows, and the Pile Driver is my favorite of that line. But I also like the FMJ series by Easton because they lend themselves very easily to leaving them full length, matching them with an appropriate high weight forward of center broadhead, and achieving the deadliest arrow, either with compound or recurve longbow, some form of traditional archery equivalent, or a modern archery bow such as a compound bow. With that being said, though, a single beveled broadhead fractures bone and tension cuts tissue. So the arrow on the top is still an incredibly deadly arrow because it has a high weight forward of center. The broadhead has a high mechanical advantage, good structural integrity, and it uses all the energy from a 50-pound bow because it has at least 10 grains of arrow weight in total per pound of draw weight. The only downside of the arrow on the top is that it has slightly more shaft drag because of its flush transition rather than the acute transition of the arrow on the bottom, which weighs in, as I said, just at over 500 grains. So it will also use the same 10 grains per pound of draw weight and absorb maximum energy from the bow. With all of this being said, though, the Carbon Express Pile Driver 250 left full length with a standard insert and a 200 grain broadhead and a standard insert in the FMJ .500 with a 200 grain point are easily replicatable deadliest arrow options.